Well, good afternoon to you all. Welcome to my second podcast for the Riding Through Grief channel. I was planning to do this a few days ago. This is now Thursday, but you'll be watching this on Sunday. And I was supposed to have a guest on this week who was an ex-army vet. I realise I've still got my glasses on, but I need them to look at the screen, so I'll leave them there. And unfortunately, he's got man flu. And I do apologise in advance if I lose my voice, because I've got man flu as well. I've had it for about a week. But anyway, welcome to the channel. If you've not been here before, this is a new format, so we're just trying to get things kicking off. But we're going to try something different tonight. And I've never had a phone-in. We've got the ability to do a phone-in or Teams and things. And this is something I want to look at for the future for doing live podcasts as well. So we'll give that a bash tonight, and we're going to really give it a bash properly, because the phone-in isn't even in this country, which I think is going to be a good experiment. She's sitting in the background making noises and banging, but don't worry about her. We'll be speaking to her in a wee second. Making faces at me already. So we did lose Brian this week. Hopefully he'll be better soon, and we'll be able to have a chat. And we'll talk about all the kind of things that he's been dealing with over the past few years in relation to mental health and everything. Because that's what this channel's all about. Well, it's not all about mental health, but it's about fighting through it. It's about sharing. It's about trying to open up, communicate, talk to people, which is extremely important. And obviously, in my case, the mental health thing is all about grief. But, you know, we're trying to build a community here where people can feel safe to talk. And that's the ultimate goal. The NHS case that I mentioned in my last podcast, there's my phone pinging. The NHS case I mentioned in that, unfortunately that's the problem with my phone, and you're going to hear everything. And the last podcast is still hanging in the balance. Now, I spoke to my solicitor about it. The NHS legally have got 3 months to do all their investigations, and they've had well over 3 months. They've had 4 months now. And the solicitor basically came back and said, well, when it comes to cases like this, they will usually take longer. So what's the point in telling people like me in the first place that they've got 3 months and then they've got to come back? To me, it seems an absolute waste of time and effort. So I'm still in the land of knowing nothing when it comes to what rights I have and what my sort of legal options are. However, I do have backups. I do have plans. I've got all sorts of plans, actually. I've been speaking to journalists. I've got my documentary lined up. And there's a possibility of some television stuff as well. But I'll know more about that going forward. But the reason I'm doing all this is because it's played such a big part in my life. Everything that I've talked about in this channel has been quite safe. It's all been about grief. It's all been about what's happened in the past, and it's harrowing and it's horrible and devastating. But there's so much went on before it. There's so many mistakes been made, and these things haunt me today. And that's what I need to sort out, and that's what I want to talk about. But that will come in a future episode. But the biggest thing for me, and the biggest thing that's got me through this, and why I started this channel in the first place, and I remember saying it was a cathartic thing for me, and there's too many people, my glasses are all fuzzed up, too many people nowadays think that it's weak to show emotion, or it's, you know, especially for a bloke, it's too weak if I make myself look vulnerable. I wanted to try and change that. Something I spoke about before Sarah passed away, and the whole idea behind this channel was to do exactly that, is to let people see that, you know, it doesn't matter what you do in life. You know, I'm a biker, and it's probably the least thing people expect to see is somebody like me standing up there telling everything about, you know, about grief and heartache and all that sort of bump. And so that was the main goal for this. And the biggest thing that's affected me with this channel is the amount of support that's come through the channel itself, and that's everybody that's subscribed. If you just look through a lot of the comments, there are people in the comments pouring their heart out about what they've experienced recently, and they've been watching all the videos and things, and it's helping them. That's what I want to do. I want to help myself, but obviously help other people as well. That's the big goal. And having community and having people around you is one of the big things. And that brings me to the next point of what I want to talk about here. Friends, family is such an important thing when it comes to mental health. Bottling things up. Gordon mentioned in a podcast, in fact, we were on the BBC not long ago on the breakfast show for Radio Scotland, and Gordon says, you know, you could do 4 things. You could go to the Erskine Bridge, which is always an option. Everybody thinks about that. I did as well. Or you could sit in the bed and wrap your duvet around you and sit and cry all day and dwell and do nothing. Or you could have this tiny little safe life where you sort of don't go out there, don't do anything. And he likened it to a sort of, his analogy was a pilot lighting a boiler. He says, when you light up the boiler, it goes, he says, that's the big life. He says, and that's the life that Ruth would want him to live. And that's the life that Sarah would want me to live. And it's important to try and talk to people about that sort of thing and, you know, share my experiences. But one of the big factors for me has been able to talk to other people. And that's where we come into this tonight. So I've got a phone in from a very, very close friend, someone I've known for over 2 decades. It seems like a very long time. And she's a lovely person. She's a wonderful friend. Someone I speak to daily, and someone who's listened to me in countless nights while I'm lying in my bed and video calls, telling her about everything that's happened. And she's just been there to listen and offer advice and help. So I'm going to introduce you to Charlotte. She's on the phone all the way from, I'm probably going to pronounce this long, Strängnäs in Sweden. Is that right, Charlotte?
That was nearly right.
Oh, right, okay.
Close enough.
Right, okay. How do you pronounce it?
Strängnäs.
Oh, it wasn't far off. I don't think it was too far off. So Charlotte lives all the way out in
It was pretty good.
Sweden. You're over on the east side of Sweden, aren't you? So you're sort of a couple hours from Stockholm?
Yeah, so I'm about an hour away from Stockholm.
Okay.
So
I
East Coast, yeah.
We've been having conversations of late. You have to excuse me looking down here because she's on my phone here in a wee video call. We've been having conversations, and I was absolutely gobsmacked at how warm it gets in the summer over in Sweden. What did you say it was getting temperature-wise?
Yeah, we had quite a few days when it was like 35 degrees, which is far too hot.
Well, the perception is that because it's Sweden, it's always freezing, and that it's cool summers and freezing cold winters, but it seems to be the opposite, so I can't imagine that. 35 degrees is too warm for me, and if you're a biker, you know, 15 degrees is about perfect, which is what we get in Scotland. So Charlotte's, as I say, we speak every day with video call, the wonders of modern technology, and Charlotte's been listening to my woes, haven't you? Time and again. We've talked about our lives, we've just had a chat, we've had everything. And I think you pretty much know everything about me there is to know, don't you? Probably know me better than I know myself. But tell us about what you do over in Sweden. I mean, what you used to teach, didn't you?
Yeah. So I was born in Glasgow, and I lived in Glasgow until I was a teenager. Moved out to not quite Paisley, but like Johnston area. Yeah. And then about 15 years ago, I met my husband. We were playing World of Warcraft together. Oh, gamers. Love it. So I ended up moving over here, and I was in uni when we met. So my plan was to just carry on studying, and that's what I did. Got my teaching degree, and I've been working as teacher until very, very recently.
Okay.
At the beginning of this year, I found out that my job was probably going to disappear because the school's shrinking a bit. And I was in a bit of a panic about what on earth I was going to do with myself. The local yarn store, the woman that drives it, she went out and said that she was ready to sell. She was ready to start winding down, and she was going to start looking for someone to buy the store. And I figured, well, you know, the timing was just so perfect that I didn't want to let the chance go. So I'm like, do you know what? I know nothing about running a store, but I knew nothing about moving to a foreign country or becoming a teacher either. So I might as well just do it, see if it works.
Massive career change, isn't it? I mean,
oh yeah, it is such a huge difference.
How long have you been doing that for now? How long have you had the store?
I took over in July. So what's that, 3 months?
It's really quite inspirational, really. I remember when I saw you putting pictures on Instagram about it, I thought, wow, you know, I mean, there's a change. Teaching, and all of a sudden you've just bought this store and moving it. And what made you to do? I mean, obviously it's something you're interested in, the crafting. Is it to do with crafting? Yarn store. I mean, you know, we know what. Well, I know what yarn is, but What is it exactly you sell?
So I sell yarn, and I sell fabric, and I sell like all the notions that you need for like ribbons and buttons and needles, you name it. Where the store is actually unique in our county because these types of stores are dying out with online shopping.
Oh, okay.
But just in this kind of textile market, it's so important to have a physical store where people can come in and you know, pick up the yarn, picking up yarn and getting to feel it and squish it.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
No.
Really.
I would agree with that. I mean, I know it's a completely different thing, but that's like buying a bike online. You want to sit in it and physically see what it's like, or buying anything. I mean, I'm a musician, so I wouldn't just look at a keyboard and go, oh, there's a new keyboard from Yamaha. I'll just go, bing, and purchase it. You want to go to a physical store where you can touch and feel and play the instrument. So I'd imagine it'd be very much the same for that. Sarah, incidentally, would have loved Charlotte. Sarah was a mad crafter. She made some of the last things she made were little gonks. I think I showed you them, didn't I? Christmas
the little
tree gonks.
football ones.
Yeah, and she made them. Yeah. She made them with different football hats on. And obviously we live in Paisley, so and I work in Glasgow, so she made them for a lot of the guys in my work. So there was Celtic and Rangers. There was a Partick Thistle one, and of course I'm a St Mirren supporter, so she made me a St Mirren one, and I've got it here in the studio somewhere. In fact, it's lying about here. But she would have absolutely loved your shop. She loved it. We used to have a haberdashery shop up the high street, and I think that's similar to what you are. Is that not pretty much the same kind of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
It was, judging by what I've seen of your store, it was nothing like it in terms of size, but she disappeared a few years back. I don't know if COVID and lockdown and everything really sort of put an end to that. But Sarah used to spend, I was going to say she used to spend, not just time, but money up there, and she would have loved it. But there's something that Charlotte's that offered, and I was really touched. I believe October in Sweden is a cancer awareness month.
Yeah. So in October, they have what's called the Pink Ribbon campaign, the Rosa Band. And an awful lot of stores and organisations will do things to raise money for cancer research.
Wow.
And I figured that, you know, this is my first time having the opportunity to do something like this. So I decided that I wanted to do that. So all of October, all pink products, all the pink yarn, all the pink fabrics, everything pink in the store. 25% of the purchases, the price will be going to, well, it'll be coming over there, won't it? Yeah. I'm going to be donating it
to the Beats and Cancer charity. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. So, wait a minute. That deserves a serious round of applause. So, Charlotte's donating. She's going to be coming over to visit. When is it coming over again? The 1st of November.
First weekend in November.
Yep. So, I will be taking her about and showing her the sites. Well, you've seen the sites, but it's changed a lot. How long have you been in Sweden?
15 years.
She doesn't sound as if she comes from Scotland, does she? She's lost her Glasgow accent. And she speaks
Everyone here says that. Everyone here can tell I'm Scottish.
Yes, but that's because they're
There's
Swedish.
no one here that thinks I sound Swedish at all. Thank you very much.
No, that's because they're Swedish, so they don't know. They don't know any better. But Charlotte's going to come over and visit, so we're going to spend a weekend, aren't we? We're going to go out with some of my family and friends and have a bit of fun while she's here. And then on the Monday, which will be the 4th, oh, my birthday. What a good day to go and visit the beach.
Is that your actual birthday?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're going to go in the 4th of November. Happy birthday to me. And we're going to go and visit the Beats and Cancer charity where Charlotte's going to take the money physically up there and hand it over to them, which I think is a wonderful gesture. And I was quite touched. And sure, Sarah would love it. She really would. She would be completely blown away by this. But there you go. So all the way from Sweden. I mean, it's lovely having close friends and family around about you, but having someone in another part of another country, I was going to say another part of the country, in another country, that has been super close to me. It just goes to show you don't physically have to be around each other to be close, doesn't it?
I know.
A bond can breach big distances, and certainly with us too, that's been the case.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I can't wait till she comes over and visits. I can't remember what she looks like in the flesh. Well, I can see her face, but that's about it. So that's. I was going to say her full name, but I'm buggered if I can remember how to say your surname. Hold on to try and get this right. It's Charlotte Graham Yort. Is that right? Or close to that? Am I right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Yort.
Go me. So you can stay on there and listen to the rest of the podcast. I think you should say cheerio in Swedish, though. I think you should say good night, everyone, or something, and say something in Swedish. Give us a line.
Okej. Godnatt alla som har lyssnat till mig, och tack för det.
There you go. Whatever that means. Thank you, Charlotte. Thanks for speaking to us.
Do you want me to translate it?
Aye, go for it.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to me.
Oh, wonderful. Charlotte's going to just hang about there just so she can... we're not going to be long. This is going to be a quick podcast tonight because it's just me. Everything's changed, and I've got Lurgy as well. And my voice is doing all right, isn't it? Well, we're talking in the way in here, and it sounded like something out of Scooby-Doo. I was squeaking. So the fundraiser that Charlotte's doing is wonderful. It's an amazing thing, and it's a wonderful gesture. And to add to that, I have mentioned in a few videos, whether I've been on the bike, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last podcast, I might have done, but I've mentioned it a couple of times on the bike about a charity single. And so in this studio, I am going to create a cover version of a well-known song by Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years, which is a poignant song because it's about not leaving things unsaid. Really important. That's why I always say in videos, tell people you love them, and hug people when you can. Don't leave things because you just don't know what tomorrow brings. And if you've been in my position, and there's plenty of people that are watching this right now that are on this channel that have been in this position, some really recently and some, in the past couple of years. So you know how important it is to tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. And that's what I want to get across to people. But the charity single is something that's really important. I wanted to do something because I felt useless. And there's no other way to put it. When you're watching the love of your life suffering and fading and you can't do anything about it, it's the most horrific feeling on the planet. And I was looking at ways, oh, just dropped my phone. I was looking at ways to try and figure out if I could do something to give back, so to speak, for Sarah's wonderful treatment. Now, I mentioned at the start of this about a legal battle and all that, and that is definitely happening. But there are certain elements of treatment that she had which were amazing, and the Beatson were absolutely fantastic. Sarah started her treatment at the Beatson, going through the normal chemotherapy route, and when it wasn't working, she was referred to the clinical research unit at the Beatson, and they were amazing. They were like a family. And all the thing about these units is they're not funded directly by the NHS. Even some of the staff in the clinical research unit are part funded by Cancer Research UK. The treatment, the trials, all funded by a mixture of Cancer Research UK and the Beatson Cancer Charity equipment. All this money comes from these charities, and the staff that are in these departments are there because they're so committed to trying to find a cure for cancer. It's research, it's clinical research, different levels of trials. You have phase 1, 2, I don't want to get into too many details, but Sarah's initial trial was a phase 1 trial, and the reason a phase 1 trial is just basically an initial trial. They've never used the drug before. They're trying it to see if there's any side effects and problems. And for want of a better way to put it, they do that with patients that are terminally ill because they can't fix them. So they think, well, these are the best people to try these brand new drugs on, which didn't work, as we all know. And then she went on to another trial. Professor Evans, a Welsh guy, wonderful man. He used to sit and tell us all these things, and it was like kind of going in that ear and out that one. It's all these medical terms, but an amazing guy, and he pioneered the drug about 12 years ago. And he said even 12 years ago they were having problems technology-wise, and the technologies went so far, he says it's almost overtaken them in a lot of cases. So this drug was called pemigatinib, and it's a drug that targets specific parts of the DNA, and Sarah's DNA was sent away to America and everything to be sequenced. And they identified this, and that was a targeted therapy. Unfortunately, that didn't work either, as we all know what the result was, but it was the fact that they put so much care, time and attention into trying to find something that would potentially prolong her life. And they were like a family. It was all the same nurses, and Charlotte's still here as well, so I'll talk to you as well. It was all the same nurses and doctors that you've seen every week. And I still go and visit. I still go up for a coffee now and then. So I'll be able to take Charlotte, and in fact, it'd be lovely to take you to introduce you to them all. And they're just wonderful people. And these people need recognition. They need something. And the Beats in Cancer charity, I'm actually starting group counselling next Tuesday. And that's all funded by the Beats in Cancer charity. They've got bereavement support groups. There's loads of different things out there that you can use. And the reason I wanted to do that song is because that's my way of giving something back. That's basically it. So if I can raise money by putting skills that I've got, which is music, video and everything, that's what I've spent my life doing. I want to put this song together. I've got loads of people. I've got the Beats in Cancer charity choir are going to be singing on it. And I've got a guy and 2 girls that are going to be singing on it. And we're going to put this together for a video, and we're going to film up at the hospital. It's going to be great. It's going to pull on your heartstrings, and it's going to make you dig deep. and we're going to attach it to, I don't know how the Beatson want to do it yet, so it might be Just Given, it might be another type of page, but that's the plan going forward. And that's what's taking up all my time just now. That's why it's difficult getting out and doing bike videos and stuff and going away at the weekend, because I've got so many projects on. I've got podcasts I'm doing for other organisations. And it's difficult to get into it. But so that's what's happening, and that'll be mentioned from time to time coming up. But just before I finish, one more thing. At bikes. Yeah, it's riding through grief. We're a bike channel, aren't we? I've got plans for next year, and I kind of dropped the bombshell in Gordon when we were doing the BBC interview. I mentioned the Arctic, and he was like, what? Never said that to me. I'm going to go to Europe on the bike. I'm going to take 3 weeks off work. I want to visit. Sarah left a book of instructions. Some of it was bucket list things. Some of it was instructions like, get this YouTube channel sorted. She was quite, adamant that I was going to do these things. And she wanted to go and visit Ypres, Belgium, and Meningate, Auschwitz. And one of my goals, and I remember talking to her about it, I wanted to ride the bike all the way up to the Arctic Circle. And I want to do that for charity as well. So the idea there is I'll take 3 weeks. I'll probably build it up between sort of after Christmas and going away so that I can get a bit of marketing and all that done. But I want to let people see the plan, and I'm going to challenge myself to get all the way up. And I'll come and visit you, Charlotte, in Sweden.
Yeah, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
You can come to the store.
Yeah. In fact, you can put me up for a couple of nights. That sounds cheap. Yeah. Yeah.
Fine.
I'll go and visit Charlotte and spend a few nights over there and see her and her husband and all her children and visit the store and stuff like that. I think that would be lovely. And it'd make a nice part of the video. So obviously the plan is to video all that. I hope my BMW lasts till then and doesn't fall apart between now and then, because I can't afford a new bike. But there's loads more to tell. The story is massive. The implications of everything that's been on over the past 4 years are huge. Emotionally, financially, it's a minefield. But we will kind of open it up a little bit at a time. But I can't do too much just now because it's still in the hands of all the legal people. But there we go. So that's me for tonight. How long have we been running for, Charlotte? 24 minutes. I think that's long enough tonight, isn't it? For a wee second podcast.
You say so.
Yeah, well, I'll do. I can only listen to myself so much. But listen, thanks for listening, Charlotte. It's been brilliant having you here chatting to me. Last minute, I just landed it on.
Thank you for asking me to come on.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
It was really fun, and I'm really grateful that I got to come on.
Do you know what I've just thought of?
What?
When you're here, you're going to come on one for real, in front of the camera.
Oh no!
And show the world.
Really?
Yeah, I think that'd be brilliant. Well, I want when Charlotte hands the money over to the Beats, and I'm going to film it anyway, because I want to make it part of my series, because it's all related. and then you can come on here and have a wee chat with everybody. I think that'd be good.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Right.
Let's do that. Oh no, now I've committed. I can't change my mind.
Yeah, you heard it, folks. You heard it here. So listen, thanks. And I'm not the only one that's suffering. One of my favourite podcasters, in fact, there's two that I love watching and they're bike related, is Brew Time, a guy called Teapot One, Bruce Smart. Gordon, Charlotte, you've seen him in the videos. You guys know who I'm talking about. Is currently in Picos in Spain, in northern Spain, on one of the chicken strips tours. Lucky person. Hold on, I should find the button for that. There we go. And I love watching Brew Time because he brings in all the other bikers. He'd used their name Kate on, I think, last week. And another guy who's a lovely guy, someone else that's been very strong on the theme, is that the right term? The theme, the mental health, is a guy called, well, his channel's known as a Peaky Biker. He's a hell of a lovely guy, and his midweek mumble's great to listen to. But he's cancelled that this week because he's got man flu. So that's me losing my podcasts this week. But never mind, it's good to watch these people. We've all got cold or sore throats or something that's going on, but we plod on. Thanks for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we'll get the guests that we've missed this week on. And thanks again, Charlotte, for coming in and joining us. And I'll catch you all later. Good night.